Morning, everybody. It is May, what would it be? 12th. Oh, 12th. Wow. Yeah, we should be doing canola by now, but we're just getting into the Durham. Yeah, we're way behind. Anyhow, May 12th, it's a touch on the windy side, but it's kind of up and down. It's not that bad at ground level. We got rain yesterday, but the fields are soaking it up nice. We'll see. I might just drop the booms down and maybe drop the pressure, maybe up the pressure. We'll see what I want to do, see what kind of results we're getting. But today's cocktail is going to be, step one is Griffin, which is it's a water conditioner and surfactant. So it works really well. It kind of gives the glyphosate a little more oomph to it, and it really helps adhere to the plants and penetrate through the wax and film on the leaves. So, yeah, Griffin. This is the juice glyphosate 540, so it is 540 grams per liter of glyphosate. Yeah, glyphosate, 540 grams acid equivalent per liter. Now, typical, you know what? I'm going to get into, I should do it right now. Oh, yeah. So, I wish they would come up with a better system for this. So back in the day, Roundup was 360 grams a liter. Roundup being the original glyphosate. Well, then people they decided to cut, like everybody sprays based on liters per acre, but it's a liter of 360. So if we're spraying 540, which is right there, you're actually spraying 50% more than you would if it was 360. So there gets to be a lot of confusion going on when people are saying, yeah, I'm spraying a liter an acre, or 0.66 or 0.33. Like, for example, I'm putting down 0.33 liters of this per acre, which means I'm putting down half a liter of regular strength Roundup. Capiche? I know it's confusing as hell. There needs to be a system where they figure out, like, they start calling it units or something like that. So we're gonna mix off a batch here. We're gonna do the recirculation for the first time because we're adding some of this DB878 from Precision Pack. It's got some dicamba and some tribenuron, which is they used to call it Express. It's really good for killing off volunteer canola, especially the Roundup resistant, which we don't grow Roundup resistant. We grow Liberty Link. So, but this will really nuke it. So this is the first time I've ever used the recirculation. Oh, is it nice? I'm digging that hardcore because this DB878 is granular. So normally what I had to do would be like smash my surfactant and then run up top and pour those in. I didn't put enough in. I did not put enough in. Because we're doing 320 acres of tank and I only put 2 in. So good thing I caught that. Good thing I was talking to you guys. But yeah, then I have to top fill 4 of them. And then I have to come down here and pump my Roundup. Well, I can have this agitated. I can pump my Roundup. Bang, bang. Oh, this is a nice system. that slick. And I can turn you on. I can just rinse it, or I can turn the spinner thing on. I'm liking my setup so far, guys. Just gonna give that a minute or two to agitate, be fully incorporated. And then in the meantime, I'm gonna pump some. Need 105 liters of Roundup or glyphosate. And then I haven't done the math on that yet. Well, a quarter of 320's 80. It's like I need a new seal on that guy. Oh, and I contaminated this. That was dumb. That was dumb. Oh well, we'll get her out. Well, everything's just gotta fight us right now. I must have a bad solenoid on, which was it? Get back here, 42, yeah, coil circuit open. So I'm gonna go check that out. Yeah, wind picked up, so not gonna spray. At least I got a blend on the tank. I'll change out that solenoid. So for anybody who's unfamiliar with, they call it PWM, pulse width modulation, which what it is it uses, I hate saying what it is I hate that. I'm gonna go to this end before I work on it. So I believe the original was capstan, which I think Case bought and turned into AIM Command. But there's others. There's John Deere has their version. I think it's called Exact Apply. I know Rogator has one, and a few others have different variations. What the system does is it uses solenoids to essentially open and close a valve very rapidly, multiple times per second, like a camera shutter, to be able to modulate pressure and rate. And by modulating pressure, we can vary. So I'm going to back up. We can modulate pressure and rate at a range of speeds. So that gives us multiple controls as far as if I want to up my rate without going faster, all I have to do is press a button. Isn't that great? If I want to increase my droplet size by decreasing my pressure, I can do that. On the old system, you would turn it on and it would run. And you had to, they call it conventional booms, you had to control your speed to make the other things happen. So let's take a look at, this is AIM Command Pro. It's good. The flex is a lot better. So as we're looking at it right now, this is our solenoid. And all it does is it pulses at a frequency. Now if I'm going straight through the field this way, they all pulse at the same frequency, except every other one is a mirror frequency. So if you were to look at a sine wave where it is on and then off, it'd be on here. So we'd be on, off, the whole way down. At that instant. At the next instant, it would be off, on, off, on. So you actually have the same electricity load going pretty much all the same time, except when you're cornering. And the thing, thing that's kind of hard to grasp your head around is that you're actually shutting off nozzles. Well, it's much like a camera where it's so fast and so frequent that you don't notice it. So let's open. Now, actually, I'm gonna talk on the next thing. With what that gives us is the ability to manipulate pressures and rates on the fly within a certain range, obviously, but without getting out and changing nozzles or changing your pump rate, because the old ones you would have to get out and not necessarily get out, but if you wanted to apply more, you would have to drive slower at the same pump speed. Or if you wanted higher pressure, you would have to increase your pump rate while increasing your speed. Because if you just increase your pump rate, you would increase your gallons per acre equivalent, and that's not necessarily good. So this gives you the ability to just change your pressure on the fly within a certain range, as well as it adapts to your speed and it adapts to the angular momentum of taking a corner. So when I take a corner, I don't know if I can do that, but you can imagine that as I'm coming around a corner, if I do my corners almost perfectly, so that goes from 0 to nozzle 72 is 120 feet away. Well, if I'm doing a perfect corner, that guy essentially has a spike down, and it really doesn't move. And on a conventional boom, like I said, it would have essentially here, it doesn't move. So on a conventional boom, if I'm turning, that's just soaking down this spot. And I believe it was capstan, not case, but they did the math on it. I think it was on 100 foot. Could have been. You end up with up to 53 times over application on your outer 2 or 3. So you get 52 times more than you want to put down in that spot. So you're going to burn the crop. Obviously, not this time of year, there's not really crop to burn. But on the far end, you get about 10% of your desired rate, which is no good either, because you start flying around the corner and you get very little chemical out here. Well, very little chemical means a lot more weeds, and we were starting to notice that a lot, that the very corners were having resistant weeds creeping in. So in order to accommodate this situation, the ProView in this system, but the rate controller, which controls every single nozzle now, it chooses a duty cycle for this guy that is extremely low. So it might pulse 1 or 2 or 4 times as I'm doing the whole corner, and it will actually speed up the pulses so that your on time is much higher at the far end, so that you're getting an even application the whole way around, despite the fact that it's going essentially near 0 mile an hour out there, and it could be as high as 40 mile an hour out there. Now, there is an upper limit, there is a limit on the system based on what your tips are, based on how fast it can pump, and yada yada yada. That's a lot more complex, but that's the idea of the system. And the other thing the system gives us, that's an option that's really neat, is say you're working in a place that does tram lines. We don't do tram lines, but maybe you don't want to spray on your tram lines or maybe you just want to spray a little bit on your tram lines because whatever reason. You can shut that guy off. Or alternatively, say last year where it was really, really dry and dusty, I could say I want to put another 10 or 20% down that one just to make sure my spray is not getting hung up in the dust. So it's a really handy system. It's just that we got a less advanced version of it. So I'm gonna pop, so I guess I did this last year when we got it. Every 3 or 5 I think I did. Every 5 by the look of it. I put a label down. I'm surprised they're holding on so well. So 5, 30, 40, 41, 42. This is the one that's giving us some issues right now. So I'm gonna pop him open. I should be using gloves, yes, but I have not charged the booms since the last time I used it. So there is only rinse water in here, period. I will charge the booms just so that I'm ready to go. That's another feature that I need to put on this thing eventually. It's probably going to be a bit cockeyed to the world because I got it resting on the lights here, but what's in here, over this way, this guy is your poppet, and that's the valve. It sits inside the solenoid, and what the solenoid does is it makes a magnetic field, and it, try and do this without my big fingers, it pulls this open, that little rubber plunger against that hole in the middle. So it either pulls it open or it releases and it closes. And it does that multiple times a second. And that's how this whole system works, is these little things and that solenoid. And then the computer. Wow, this is starting to turn into a shitty day, is all it is. You see that? That is never a good sign. So I was going down around there. I was trying to get a little bit tight, and the machine slid sideways, and it bounced off of one of the trees, and it, not even sure which one it hit. I think it hit, well, it must have hit there. You can see that broke. But then it also spun my sensor. And so she goes straight up, and then she starts pouring fluid all over hell's half acre. Hopefully that solenoid's okay. They always break right there. So I'm gonna have to replace that. Luckily I didn't break this guy again. That one. Because it should stay out in front. Like that. Sometimes you get a tree just wrapped on it just right and they swing over. But yeah, it was definitely kind of slimy going into that corner, and I overshot it by about 5 feet. That usually happens a few times a year, almost entirely when I am going clockwise around the headland. I don't know what it is. It's just between, I don't know if you could probably see if I was to move you a little bit. But anyways, if you're looking from where I am, most of the time here, look this way, I always tend to be moving and having to get so that the nozzle tip is right at the, like, in the right spot. But usually what I can do is use this bar as kind of a guide. On the flip side, I got a lot of visibility here, and I typically end up using, where I sit is this little knob or nut. And look what we got over here. So Dad's putting Durham in, which is awesome. So he's gonna come in behind me. He's gonna probably play around on the headland that I've already sprayed like 45 minutes ago. So it's already taken in by the little canola and wild oats and whatnot. Come on. We're behind, Dad. Kick her into high gear. He really doesn't need to, but I like to encourage him. Swing by. Look at that. That's about as close as we'll ever get. And here's something. Oh. Yeah, that. All of a sudden that decided to start chirping again. Because the other day when I was spraying ahead of the lentils, it would not chirp at all. I don't know why. Because normally, you just go, beep, and your auto steer's engaged and it'll find your line. You'll notice I'm slowing down a lot at the end of the field because, well, that's what happens when I go too fast into a corner. I end up sliding when it's slimy like this. Well, we're getting rained out again. Didn't quite get my field done. Still had about 90 acres to go.